In this video, I'd like to help you to put some processes in place so you can look after yourself and you don't burn out. So this is going to be a 5-part structure, which I created when I wrote a book called Guidelines for a Holistic Happy Life. There it is, my first book. Very proud of it. And if you want a copy of that, you can click on the link in this video. I will send you a free online copy. You can check it out, or you can just buy it from Amazon. But I burnt out really badly. Some of it was it my fault? Was it my doing? It was part of things I did, and it was also life circumstances, as tends to be a case for all of us. But I don't want that to be you. I really don't. And there's so much that I learned and I changed, and that's why I wrote the book, because the idea with it was how do you actually look after your health and well-being? And I came up with your body, your mind, your spirit, your emotional health, and your digital health. So in this video, I want to focus specifically on how to put some processes in place for each of these 5 aspects, just some simple things you can put in place to stay away from burnout so you don't get overwhelmed, so it doesn't lead to a bad thing. So the first one is for your body. Now, you might be working out, you might be eating well, you might be moving, getting good sleep. These are all really good things. And these are performance-based, which is great. But I want you to think about setting up processes. So a process is something that's set up regularly. You don't have to do it. It's quite boring. It's quite predictable. It's like this is done on this time, on these days. And that's a process for your body. So you could say, my process for my body is that I'm going to walk 10,000 steps a day. It's about an hour and 45 minutes. And that's just what I do. Doesn't matter how I feel. Doesn't matter what's going on. I regularly move. And that is my process. One of my things for my body. Yeah. If you do that, by the way, that's so good for looking after you. It's good stress buster. There's all sorts. You could also say, right, another process is I go to the gym or I go to this class 3 times a week. These are processes you put in place, and then it doesn't matter too much how you perform in those workouts or in the walk. None of that matters. It's the fact that you've actually put the process in place. And the third one, which I'd absolutely recommend, is you have processes for recovery, because I've made this mistake of, working really hard in the gym and then not recovering from injuries, or, trying really hard with all my efforts, my diet, but not getting good sleep. So it's recovering. So it's thinking, what processes can I have in place to help my body to recover? Because that's actually what it's about. Damage and then repair, damage and repair. It's the same with work. We get stresses, we get difficult situations, we've got to repair, we've got to look after ourselves. So there's some simple processes, that's for the body. When it comes to the mind, it's really simple. My recommendation is meditation. I meditate every day. It's one of the best things that I do. The process I put in place to look after my mind. You don't have to do that, but I would use this question to put in process a place to look after your mind. When and where do you spend time away from your thoughts? Every day. It doesn't matter how busy you are. If you've got children, if you're in your own business, you must have time away from your thoughts every single day. Because most of us, like me, the moment you get up, they're thinking, while you've been in bed, you wake up, you're thinking, you need time away from that. Now, if you struggle with meditation, you don't want to meditate, it doesn't matter, that's fine. It could be time with loved ones. It could be time playing a computer game. It could be time doing a hobby. It doesn't matter what the thing is, as long as the end result is that it gives you time away from your thinking, so you feel calmer, or you're not even thinking about your life, then it's a good thing. It's a good thing, yeah? The worst thing we can do is sit there going, that ruminating, that is what will burn you out. It's what happened to me. Just too much stress and then too much thinking about the stress without time away from it, as I now know, right? The third aspect is a beautiful one, and it's your spirit. So you might be religious, you might not be religious. That is irrelevant to this aspect. It's more about the deepest parts of you, your values, what you really care about, the fact that we're all here right now, So nourishing that deepest part of you, yeah, having processes to nourish that deepest part of who you are is absolutely critical. I'd make the point that of all 5, this is the most important one. Your body could be a mess and your mind can be all over the place, but if your spirit is strong, you can get through anything. However, if everything else is great, but your spirit is weak and just you feel disconnected and just not bothered and unmotivated and just like, as I say, spiritual batteries are low, then things are really hard. So processes to put in place, again, very simple ones, time outside in nature. The more we spend time outside, the more we remind ourselves we are not the center of the universe. We're part of something, and that leads to awe, it leads to wonder, leads to connection. Yeah, it's absolutely beautiful. Or it could be time with your loved ones. Again, sense of connection. Spiritual stuff seems to involve connection. Yeah, or it could be time on your own, where you need that time away from people to nourish that part of you that just needs to go. Oh, So again, can you see the thread? These processes, you apply them as you want. It's more about understanding there are these five aspects. And if you just care for each one every day or every week, you will stay more than stay away from burnout. You'll be in a really good, strong, fit, healthy place. When it comes to an emotional aspect of your health, again, pretty simple thing. You've got positive emotions, and these are real things, by the way, in the brain, in the body, real chemicals firing. Thoughts and feelings, emotions are absolutely true and real on a chemical level. So your positive ones, joy, happiness, connection, love, peace, serenity, excitement, the good ones. Then we've got the negative ones, so anxiety and depression, overwhelm and fear and paranoia. Interesting in English, we've got more of the negative ones than positive ones. But then you've also got these neutral times where you're not really up or down. You just kind of meh, just here. I'm just listening. I'm just okay. And actually, that's what we want. So the process becomes, and again, an open-ended question. How can I maximize the positive? What stuff am I doing? So I have more of the positive. What process can I put in place with that? Is more time with my family? Is more time working out so I feel good physically afterwards? What do I do when I'm not feeling so good? Because we're always going to have those times. Yeah, people are always going to die. We're always going to feel guilt and shame, these horrible things. They're not going anywhere. It's more about what's my process. So, for example, my process when I feel those is to say, that's the time to be kind to yourself, to be gentle with yourself. Yeah. And you might say, is that a process? Yes, it is, because it's just something that I've regularly repeated in a kind of focused way. That's what process is. So every time the negative one comes, it's not feel negative for being negative. It's just, okay, that's there. Time to be gentle, careful. And then with the neutral, my process is through a lot of meditation. I'm trying to increase the amount of times where I'm not really low and I'm not really high. I'm just solid. Yeah. Interesting. That's what a lot of people tell me they actually want. They want to handle the negatives, feel more positives, but they want to just be able to handle the whole thing. Yeah. So that's the emotional side. So you can see how these things, these choices that you make, however you want to apply these processes and put them in place and create routines for yourself, they'll all bounce off each other in a positive way. And the final one, which is absolutely critical, is the digital aspect of your health and well-being. We must have, please put processes in place, just like you put processes in place to safeguard your data and cybersecurity, to protect your data. You got to safeguard your mind and your soul from these digital things without getting too hyperbolic about it. What I'm saying is, just like with stress, and when you feel stress and there's a stressor, the best way to recover from that stress is to spend time away from it. And the body just kind of goes, oh, thank goodness, and starts to recover. It's the same thing with our screens. Yeah. All the time spent on our phones, on our laptops, looking at these screens, time away from them. What's your process for that? Yeah. It's not a performance. It's not whenever you feel like it. It's not, oh, whoops, I've been on my iPhone for 9 hours today. So here's some ideas that I regularly do. I've put processes in place to protect my mental health and protect my well-being, because the problem with screens is they're not contextual, meaning you can just sit on them all day, all night, and they never end. So for me, time away from social media. Social media is great, very useful, very helpful. But if you don't go on it for every weekend for a year, that's 104 days. 104 days where it's not influencing your thinking. That's a process you can put in place right now for free. And it will really help. It's helped me for over 6 years now. Another one could be, say, right, no phones, no watches, no digital devices in the bedroom. I'm going to maximize my recovery, or we're going to spend time with my partner, and that's just our time, our space, no devices, no TVs, no nothing. Yeah. So you can do digital detoxes, you can do digital audits, take some time to really think about where you are online and how long you're spending. It's not as simple as it's bad or it's good. It's more just about, okay, I need to have some processes put in place here. Oh, I've been spending a bit too much time. Yeah, that's true. I need to pull back. Or, oh, I've actually been doing much better. Oh, that's really, really good. These things, again, why did I write it as a book? Because I wanted to put it in one thing, the idea that you're looking after your health and well-being, so you don't burn out, so you're in a good place. You got to take care of all of these. You don't just want your mental health to be 10 out of 10 and everything else to be a 2. You just get solid in all 5. They bounce off each other. Yeah. Life wants to thrive. Life wants to be healthy and happy and be nourished. We just got to give it a few things in place. It's like tending to a garden. A garden's a great example of a process. You give it the food, you give it the shelter, you give the things the water and nutrition they need, and they absolutely flourish. Okay. So hopefully that's helpful for you. And just take 1 or 2 of those aspects and I'll put them in place regularly. That's where the process comes in. It's not how you feel. It's more about what's important to you. try a few, set them up, see how they go, and tweak them if you need, and you'll move forward with them. Give it a try.